4-year-old little girl goes missing and is found days later in her bed. That being said, here's my usual warning. This video does include a child, a 4-year-old little girl. If you think that listening to this is going to harm your mental health in any way, please skip this video and I will see you in my next one. Take care of yourselves. I mean it. I love you. I want to start covering more cases in Mexico because there are a heartbreaking amount and many of them remain unsolved to this day. So we're going to start talking about those in the upcoming weeks. Today we're talking about Paulette. I would personally pronounce her last name Guebrara. I'm not sure if I'm saying it wrong. Correct me if I am. Paulette was a 4-year-old little girl. She was the baby of the family. She had an older sister and they were born to parents Lisette and Mauricio. The family lived about 1 hour away from Mexico City. Paulette was as precious as she looked. She's a cute little angel baby girl. She was a preemie. She was born at only 25 weeks old, and when she was born, she weighed only 1.7 pounds. So small, and because of that and complications that her mom had during her pregnancy, from the moment that Paulette was born, she suffered from developmental disabilities. She struggled with motor skills and language deficiencies. Doctors were worried that she wouldn't even be able to walk on her own, and while she was growing up, her parents did everything they could, getting physical therapy, medical help, doing everything that they could afford to do. That being said, they were a pretty well-off family. They were doing well financially, so they were able to do everything they could to give Paulette the best life that she could have. At 4 years old, little Paulette was unable to form complete sentences. Her speech was unfortunately not as advanced as it should have been at 4 years old. And the family had 2 live-in nannies, sisters Erica and Martha, which is a common thing in Mexico to have nannies that live with you. But they were mostly hired on top of their usual housekeepers to help with the care of Paulette. Overall, a pretty happy, successful family from the outside looking in, but as we know, everything is not what it seems behind closed doors. In March of 2012, Mauricio, the father, planned a 3-day weekend trip with his 2 daughters, 4-year-old Paulette and her sister that was 7 years old. Her name is Lisette, which is the same name as the mom. They returned home from that trip the night of March 21st of 2010. When they got back, Lisette, the mother, got the girls ready for bed, put them to bed, and then everyone in the house fell asleep. Actually, apartment. They lived in an apartment. When the nannies woke up and went to go get the girls to get them ready for the day, Paulette was not in her bed. In fact, she wasn't anywhere. Keep in mind, she was not able to walk on her own because of her disability, so her sneaking out of her bed in the middle of the night just wasn't an option, making it all that more strange that she was just gone. The nannies as well as the housekeepers were all freaking out, as anyone would be when a 4-year-old goes missing, but even more so because their job was to care for Paulette. They were in a panic and they started looking for her everywhere in every inch of the apartment they lived in, which was 2 stories, and when they failed to find her in that apartment, they went all up and down the apartment complex, the entire building itself, to see if they could find her. But you know who wasn't searching, who wasn't helping look for Paulette, who didn't do anything at all for that matter? Her parents, Lisette and Mauricio. When they were told that Paulette was not in her bed and wasn't anywhere else, they seemed to be unbothered. They just simply were not concerned. It would be Mauricio's sister who would call the local police to inform them of Paulette's disappearance after Mauricio just casually mentioned in the conversation with her that his daughter was missing. When officers and detectives showed up to search for Paulette and assess the situation, they didn't really find anything that stood out because everything apart from her being gone seemed to be completely normal. There were no signs of forced entry, no signs of a struggle. The apartment was in the same condition that it was always in. Paulette's bedroom raised no red flags. And weirdly enough, their apartment complex had security cameras both inside of the building and outside. Security cameras showed Paulette walking inside of her apartment with her father and her sister, but they never show her walking out. As you can imagine, when this case hit the news, it made headlines. Everyone was talking about it, not only because it was a 4-year-old little baby girl that was missing, but also because there was absolutely no explanation for her disappearance whatsoever. Paulette's face was on TV, on flyers, all over social media. There were officers assigned to the case and making public appeals. The Attorney General was involved. And Paulette's parents made themselves very public as well, pleading for their daughter's safe return. They appeared on TV, on news stations, doing interviews. But it didn't take long for the public to start noticing inconsistencies in their stories. And from the start, the parents quickly drew suspicion from the public. One of the interviews that is important to point out is an interview that was done by Paulette's mom, Lisette. In that interview, she's sitting on Paulette's bed in her bedroom, holding her stuffed animal. The interviewer is also sitting on the bed. Lisette talks about how special her daughter is to her, talked about her last moments with her, even showed a pair of her favorite pajamas, and she mentioned something about the situation being a kidnapping for ransom. Although there was absolutely nothing that was pointing to a kidnapping for ransom because nothing was seen on the security camera footage. How would someone get kidnapped without it being caught on camera? And there was also literally no ransom note left. So how she got that idea, I'm not sure. Regardless, the important thing to note is that that interview took place on Paulette's bed. In the early hours of March 31st, 9 days after Paulette was reported missing, investigators went back to search her bedroom. Mind you, it had been searched before. The very first day of the investigation, the apartment was searched 5 different times alone. Cadaver dogs were brought in, forensic testing was done, and nothing was found. But they went back March 31st, and that would be the day that they would find 4-year-old Paulette's little body. As soon as they entered the apartment, they were hit with the overwhelming smell of a decomposing human body. And when they entered her bedroom, they found her deceased, her body wrapped in a blood-stained bedsheet and hidden in the gap at the foot of the bed. What? I have so many issues with this, so many questions. First of all, her body was not there for the 9 days that she was missing. Absolutely no way, not a chance. The whole apartment was searched 5 times in the first day alone. Cadaver dogs were brought in, forensic testing was done. In the interview the mother did, she was literally sitting on the spot of the bed where Paulette's body was found. Not only that, but another issue is the bedroom was never once taped off as a crime scene, which is ridiculous because everyone's DNA was everywhere, but you're telling me investigators, detectives, officers, the families, the nannies, the housekeepers, the interviewers, news reporters, all of those people went into that bedroom in those 9-10 days and saw nothing when they were actively searching for something, and smelled nothing until the day where the body was actually found. Oh, and I forgot, there was a family friend staying with the family during that time for whatever reason, I'm unsure, but she was staying in Paulette's room that entire time, which is weird in itself. Your daughter is missing, why is someone sleeping on her bed? But she made it a point to tell investigators that her morning routine was to wake up and make the bed first thing in the morning. The official report concluded that Paulette's cause of death was strangulation, stating she accidentally suffocated and got trapped between the mattress and the bed frame, and authorities claim she passed away the night that she went missing. The autopsy, on the other hand, revealed that the cause of death was asphyxiation by obstruction of the nasal cavities and thorax abdominal compression. Weirdly enough as well, the report claimed that there were no signs of her body being moved after death and that the position that she was found in was the position that she passed away in. However, I have another issue with that. Remember the interview that was done by her mom in her bedroom? Those pajamas were the exact same pajamas Paulette was wearing when her body was found. Explain that to me. After Paulette's body was found, Lisette and Mauricio turned on each other. Mauricio was basically pointing the finger at Lisette, saying that she had reason to want to harm her daughter and saying that she would be capable of doing something horrific. However, also important to note that during this time, during all of this, it came out that Lisette was having an affair. She was cheating on Mauricio. So was Mauricio pointing the finger at her because he thought that she actually was the one responsible? Or was he pointing the finger at her because he was only angry and holding a grudge about the affair? To conclude everything, Paulette's death was ruled as an accident, and that sounds like insanity to me. This is my opinion. Saying that her body was there the entire time that she was missing is a lie. And if that is a lie, it just makes me think that there are many, many other lies that were just never uncovered. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. Simple as that. You're telling me the cadaver dogs couldn't smell a thing. Nobody smelled decomposition at all in 9 days until the day that her body was found. Yeah, no. That is all I have for today's video. Thank you for spending time with me today and for listening to Paulette's story. If you have any case recommendations from Mexico, message me on Instagram because I want to do a lot of Mexico ones, but ones that you guys actually want to see. And yeah, I hope you guys are having the best day. If not, go do something to make it the best day. Make somebody happy, and I will see you in my next video. Massive kiss on the forehead to every single one of you. Actually, 2 kisses. I'm feeling crazy. Love you.